Hey viewers, welcome to Both Sides of the Line, episode 2.
Episode 2, baby. Here
Looking forward to it, Az. What do you think?
Oh, mate. Another week.
What did you think? What did you feel about last week?
Great last week.
Yeah.
The messages of support from people have been really, really touching. I think we've reached a few people, which is what we're all about, and hopefully we continue to do so. I think, yeah,
awesome,
absolutely.
Yeah, I got the same. Good feedback, some personal messages.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not about the views and likes; it's more about the personal touch that people give. Then you're having some sort of impact.
That's right.
And I think we talked about topics that people want to talk about or want to hear about.
Yeah,
we didn't go into too much detail, but at least we started the idea or the head to start thinking about what we're trying to get across, what we need to think about. How to think about it, and how to get into a conversation with it, because I think some people are getting caught up with it. But
yeah, I mean, last week was a flavour of it all. I mean, we were pretty broad. We glossed over a few things, so I think we'll get a bit specific as time rolls on. But it's early stages, and there's a bit on the plate to talk about, Dazza.
Yes, mate. So for the viewers, me and Az we don't pre what's the word, script this, or
no, we don't script this. This is raw and real.
Yeah, but today I was a bit of a phone call where I was at Dazza being Dazza, had a lot of energy and thoughts in his head, and Azza is the guy who sits down and processes things, where I'm just all go. I get that. So it was a calming it was more to calm me down for tonight's episode. But I would like there's two things I'd like to discuss, and we'll highlight them in a minute.
Yep.
And obviously, you've taken some notes on points we spoke about last week that we probably just can maybe touch on if we get there.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually.
If we get into too much detail, we can always just stop the podcast and have a part 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it might be a long, in-depth one.
Yeah, and I think probably what we spoke about last week will piggyback off of what we'll talk about tonight anyway.
Yeah, sure.
There's some things we probably would really want to touch on. That's for sure. Yeah. And look, some of it's not all rainbows and smiley faces either. Some of this is what we're going to talk about tonight. Yeah, is some serious things.
Yeah,
that's happening across the community right now.
Yeah, and I know, to be fair, I don't know if it's strange, but when I say emotional, I might feel a bit emotionally consumed by it, with what we discussed tonight, because I think we sort of eggshell or tippy-toe around things at the moment. We're all there's the blame game that we discussed about some things, attitude, decision-making, rules and responsibility, all these things, and then there's also another thing I want to discuss, but they'll come out in a minute. Yeah.
So how's your week been this week? I mean,
strange, mate. Very strange. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. Monday, Tuesday was pretty. What day is it today? Wednesday.
Yeah.
So I've even lost track of days. But we've got some things happening here, which we'll probably promote over the next day or two. Some images will come up of some things doing within transition, which you just saw.
Some amazing things,
which we can't discuss yet.
It's
going to love what's going on
right now.
It's actually, that's why the lights are on. No one's training, but there is something happening out there that we're working on right now, which I can't wait to unveil.
And I've got the bird's eye view of it right now. I tell you, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, it was a good decision, I think, from us, and what we're trying to do with this environment and this space. When people walk in, it's just going to feel something unique and different. But can't wait to discuss that later. But again, how I'm feeling, I don't know. I'm emotionally up and down, high and low. I'm energized. I'm down. I'm flat. I think it's the week 2 of COVID-2 is taking its toll, like it has on many.
Yeah, it's hit me this week, I think.
I'm seeing this trend everywhere. Do you say?
Yeah. Where I was last week, I was probably a bit more buoyant. But a week on, and you hear about the numbers that are going up every day. We're talking about Melbourne here.
Yeah, sure.
And I know we're testing more than we ever have, volume-wise. So we're bound to find more cases. But it's just the behaviours. The behaviours of the general community right now, it's worrying. We'll touch on that a little bit more. But, yeah, I feel like my energy's dropped since last week, just knowing that we're second week in, and I think maybe I had in my head the expectation that the numbers would steady off.
Yep.
Would have steadied off by now.
Yeah, sure.
We're going up still. I don't want to have to be in lockdown. What, stage 3? They call this stage 3.
Correct.
Restrictions or lockdown for another longer than what we have to be.
I don't think anyone knows what Lock 4 means either. So if we do go lockdown 4, we don't really know who's actually impacts, who stays open, who doesn't.
Yeah, that's right.
So it won't be a complete lockdown. Which won't make sense to me, but anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So
maybe
I feel a bit flattered this week.
Well, maybe we jump on it now.
You want to talk about it now?
I think so.
All right.
We're going down that way.
Well, I started. Yeah, let's do it.
So you've been flat.
Yeah.
There's a question for me, and that you've lost your bounce, lost your spring in your step.
Yeah.
I'm really feeling emotionally drained and tired, and I've felt these feelings before, but for traumatic reasons.
Yeah.
This is just a different feeling. I'm feeling I've been down this road with feelings that I don't want to be there.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's me. I think I'm consumed by my surroundings. Not family. I'm talking about just as you said, Melbourne, Victoria, Australia, the world.
Yeah.
So maybe for you, are you losing the bounce? Are you getting frustrated? Annoyed?
Frustrated by what I've observed people doing.
Right.
Not doing.
Yeah.
What is it? From midnight tonight, so from tomorrow basically, or Metropolitan Melbourne having to wear masks outside. That's the requirement now.
So something I miss, just on that. So you and me doing a podcast right now.
Yeah.
So as of tomorrow, we do a podcast. Where do we sit with that?
In terms of?
You and me, right? Are we going to do a podcast with masks on?
Yeah, no, I'll have a closed look. I think DHHS says that we don't have to.
Good.
Because we're in the same office space together.
Good.
Right? I think.
Because this is the things that aren't so clear.
Yeah. We've got to have a close look at that just to make sure. But I'm pretty confident we'll be okay. I hope.
But that's the thing. But at least we look into the things for the right reasons.
Yeah, no, and we've got to, and again, we've got the responsibility to look after each other, don't we? I think that's something that's being overlooked.
So
across the community right now.
But
that's for sure.
I don't know a decision. I'm not going to. I know a lot of people. There's the blame game, which we're going to raise. I think we'll raise these words every week.
Yeah, the blame game.
And with sport, we'll go into a specific night where we talk just about sport specific.
Yeah.
Coaches, players, parents, club members, all that stuff.
Yeah. All the tangibles and intangibles.
Yeah. But I think tonight's more generic.
Yeah.
But what we discuss is what I'm frustrated, what I'm seeing, and what you're seeing is. It's not just the people within, and we've all broken a rule. Everyone in Victoria has somehow maybe not realised, have stretched it.
Oh,
without realising, or some intention. But we all played our part in a small way.
Yeah.
But some more than others, right? We agree?
Oh, 100%.
What I struggle with is we're not innocent. We're not innocent. We're all just. I'm just trying to be generic here.
Yeah.
So people are saying that there's no COVID out there. We said this last week. Out the protesters, okay, there was 10,000. Well, they shouldn't have got together in that cluster. Think about the reason why. I think it changed the attitude. I'm not worried about what they fought for, what the fights are over, but no one was really accountable by apparently the organisers. But the 10,000 people there, so that's the attitude. Then I'm starting to see that people say, I don't want to wear masks tomorrow. What I'm strong with is the government makes a rule for the betterment of the population for, this is unusual times.
Yeah.
A rule's a rule.
Yeah.
If they say there's a rule in place, it's not, well, why? We shouldn't ask why or how do we get out of it. We should just accept it and abide by it. But what I struggle with is both government and us as a population are both at wrong. The government sets a rule. People choose to do it or not do it, or abide by it, not abide by it. Where's the ramifications if you don't? There's too many people here are getting away with it. Let off, a loophole, the wording, because that wasn't covered in the clause 1 of clause 3.576 of the variation of the clause. Yeah. That's how it feels.
Yeah.
Why can't it be as simple? You are not allowed to do X, Y, Z. That's it. No exempt, blah, blah, blah. That's the rules. Why are we always fighting the rules and not abiding, and then we're not facing the ramifications for those rules? So the government's not ruling with that.
That's a great question.
If I was a police officer, why would I bother?
Would that be a tough job right now? That'd be a bloody tough job.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
That's right. And all it takes is someone on their phone as well, just trying to think of these people, just to say who we're trying to enforce the law or whatnot, and it gets taken the wrong way, out of context, whatnot. That can happen. It's a tough job. I don't know how you can police it properly.
Well, you can't police something if there's exemptions to a variation of a variation. That's just how it seems to me. The rule. So I was talking to someone, I won't say who and where. We'll just say country A.
Yeah.
Person's from country A.
Yeah.
And they said, Darren, we have these in place. So if the government says we're in level 1 or lockdown 1, 2, whatever it is, we abide by it.
Yeah.
Because if we don't, there's ramifications.
Yeah.
Now, I don't like certain ramifications of certain countries. That's not what we're discussing. We're talking about accountability of our actions.
Yeah. So you're saying there's no accountability right now?
No. So
we've lost all accountability.
We lay a law.
Yeah.
And we're trying to fight the law. Or the ruling, sorry.
Yeah.
So the government's is not sticking to the rule.
Yeah.
They're giving us to be able to not get away with it, but be able to fight through it.
Yep.
I mean, I've heard about fines that have been withdrawn. They've been fined because of a rule, but hang on, that's a loophole or X, Y, Z, and all these different reasons. All I want is a rule. We abide by it, we follow it, and then we stick to it under these conditions.
Yep.
Not ruling by dictatorship, just under these conditions.
Mm.
You know, if we're going to be in lockdown, let's just lock us down. I'm frustrated by what I see. I'm tired. I'm emotional. I'm angry. And I'm also seeing the side effects, which we'll discuss soon, is the mental health.
Yeah.
And there's something I want to touch about that's really touching me up and annoying me.
Yeah.
But that's how I see it. And we spoke last week, perspective view. If it looks like people are going to get away with it, what's the rest of the population going to do?
Yeah. Monkey see, monkey do, don't we?
If 1% does, 5% will, then 10% will. Before you know it, we have a majority not doing it and the minority doing it, and then we're going to have a divide amongst the community.
Yeah. Which I would argue we already have.
Correct. So regional, metro, suburb to suburb.
Yeah.
Not entering this. Okay, I get that, but let's just make it one in, all in. Let's all be like I drove to a regional area. I won't say the place.
Yeah.
I was waved through. I wasn't checked, which I'm surprised with. I was working. I was delivering, so I had reasons to be leaving.
Yeah.
So I did my role. On the way back, there's no checkpoint, which means everyone from that region can enter our region, mingle in with our region, and go back to the place of residence. That doesn't make sense to me.
No, and now you're drawing the argument of us versus.
Yeah, you can enter us, we can't enter you. Yeah, but you can come with us, you can mingle with us, and it will be an us and them mentality. We don't want you shopping in our supermarkets. I'm tired. I'm just seeing a bit of change in people, and we're not together. We're separated. We're divided, and it does come down to leadership.
Political leadership you're talking about? We don't want to be political on the show. So what we're saying is community leadership.
Correct. And to have community leadership, we also need to find the complete leader, which whether it's government or not, a leader to lead the leaders, and the leader's got it's just a flow-on effect. We all lead by example. Is that right or wrong?
Oh, absolutely, that would be right. I just feel as though, and maybe we don't want to be too negative, but I think this is where we're at right now. We're
down.
Down.
That's why we're flat.
We don't have the level of mateship we used to have among the community spirit that we used to have.
It's testing our true forms of community.
Our moral fibre, or our what was this country built on?
Well,
what do you think? I don't want to go. Can we compare World War II or whatever to COVID-19? We can't. We probably can't. No, but the way the country banded together at that time of just absolute probably uncertainty back then, at imagining that, why can't we band together now? What's changed? What's shifted so much across the generations now?
We'll talk about generations, right?
Yeah.
I saw this today, and sorry guys, I'm just going to jump on something here, and there's something else I've got here.
Yeah.
So I won't say who, but I love just like she's a very lovely lady. I saw this quote she put up today. So talking about World War II and what they went through.
Yeah.
Quick reminder: if the roles were reversed and younger people were more likely to die, our grandparents and parents would do absolutely everything and anything to protect us.
Yep.
Why do I have? I love the quote.
It's a great quote.
I support the quote.
Yeah.
But why does that upset me?
Perspective.
Why does that upset me?
Well, it just begs the question: why can't us younger generation, if we are the main culprit,
do the same? Protect our elders, protect ourselves, and protect us all.
Yeah, I mean, my grandparents barely been outside or been off their property.
Well, and
that's.
And you got to work out and the sad thing
they
is
get their shopping to live and whatnot, and they can't.
And they've worked hard to be in this situation.
Yeah.
And all we're saying is keep the elders away.
Mm.
What's the younger generation doing to maintain that we all live the valuable life that we all justly deserve, no matter what the age? Which means we all should work and get together, band together.
Absolutely.
And survive together.
100%.
I don't feel that.
No, the actions that we're seeing across community right now don't.
Well, I'm not looking forward to waking up tomorrow and watching people who don't or refuse to wear those masks.
Mm.
Okay, there might be a reason because of health. I'm not going to discuss that.
Yeah.
But your generic form of people who are just going to blatantly refuse to wear the mask because they think they're far bigger and better than the community.
But even simpler than that, right? 1.5 metres between each other, or 2 metres. I've got family members. One works at Bunnings, one works with Woolies, and they do their utmost to social distance. Mm-hmm. It's just the stories you hear of people just encroach on that. They don't respect that. Get told that, they'll stand up for themselves. They say, "Look, mate, can you just keep that distance, please?" And get told, "What? You're a moron for raising that." So and trying to protect yourself and do the right thing by yourself and your community, and all you get is a kick in the backside about it. Like that's crap.
All right, so and that's another problem we're having then. Your buddy.
No, I'm saying that's one example, but that's not the only example out there.
Yeah, but that's what leads back to the people who aren't being responsible. The organisation or the supermarket or the shop or whatever is accountable for those rules to be adhered to, let alone the people entering that.
Yeah.
If you don't follow it, isn't that a fine?
It's meant to be.
Okay, so where's that happening? Yet a small business will do it and be so petrified to do wrong. Mm. They're hemorrhaging big time. But all these people that are breaking the rules are making mega dollars. Your Bunnings, your supermarkets, all the people that have got in breach of all these rules. Where's their fines? Where's their threatening to shut them down? I've heard of people walking into a small business saying you're not following the protocol of the restrictions or you haven't got the measurements in place for your signage. And okay, well, those small businesses are probably still learning, but the big corporate worlds are making a lot of money, yet they're in breach of the rules and regulations of COVID-19.
Yeah, well, that's been publicised through the news this week, hasn't it?
It has been publicised, but while it's not being dealt with, what's our attitude now as a population? If they can get away with it, so can we.
So can I.
And that's what's annoying me right now. And tomorrow, I'm not looking forward to tomorrow. I'm just not looking forward to it. So I think we're going to really test to see, do rules and regulations are they really adhered to within Victoria?
Well, this is a big test now. Huge test coming up for Victoria or Melbourne, because we know when you're coming into this second lockdown, what to expect.
Correct.
But now it's gone next level. We've got to do the right things. It's so imperative. If we want to spend summer holidays with loved ones, we've got to get this right now.
And I'll tell you, if people aren't worried about the unforeseen future or the unclear of what lays ahead, the unknown, the fear, I'm not going to lie, I'm fearful. I don't fear much.
Yeah.
I'm fearful of how I feel. I'm fearful of the impact it has on my children. I'm fearful it has on my family and my quality of life.
Yep.
I'm fearful that I'm losing the zest and taste, and you have your five senses. You taste it. I don't know how you feel. I'm not tasting my food. I don't smell the trees. I don't feel the touch of the things I love to feel what I feel. I'm losing my senses, and I'm not alone. But that means that mentally or physically you're starting to break down. It's getting on top of you.
Yep.
I'll come out of this, but I'm sick of having to fight my way through it. But that's not about me now. So.
If we just got to do you knowingly, and we've got to be mates. We've got to go back to our core values, whatever they are. I'm hoping that mateship's in there somewhere still.
Well, I hope if we are getting an okay message across, we're not worrying about figures. We're not saying, we're just talking about a generic perspective view.
Yeah.
And adhering to the rules and regulations we'd have to. If I was in a sport team, I'd want to adhere to the rules. If I'm in a workplace, I'd adhere to the rules. I'd like to expect the same for us for the population of Australia.
I agree.
Everything we talk about.
Yeah. TS fam.
One in all in.
I'll do there a bit.
So what we're suggesting, guys, if you like what we discuss, share it, like it, subscribe to it.
Yep.
We are going to go through YouTube back into our Facebook. Again, we're learning those technicalities.
Yep.
We're not worrying about the view. It's just worried about engagement. If you feel that we're getting a message across that makes sense or it's worth doing, share it, guys. It'd be great for us. Not for us as our popularity, more for the message. That's what we stand for. What do you think, Az?
100%.
Now, COVID-19 we can discuss all day, every day because we're in the middle of it.
We're in the middle of it.
So I don't know if we're at the middle of it or we before the middle of it. I don't know where we are.
It's hard to tell right now. But anyway. Yep.
I thought The Perfect Storm. You know that movie? They go into a storm where they all start to merge.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I love it. And that just, sometimes I think of that. And then you're out and they've cleared the first storm, they've got to come back into it.
Yeah.
They're getting all the tuna, they're doing well, then things start, so they got to go back and you think, that's how I feel. That movie
That's probably a great
tells me exactly how we're feeling.
That's probably a great analogy.
It's great. So for me personally,
which one of us is Clooney?
we'll
Marky Mark or George? Hey,
Marky Mark. Look at this.
Marky Mark. We might need a bit more head for Marky Mark.
I don't mind being George Clooney. I'll be the wise. No, he wasn't that wise actually.
Yeah, but he's got the salt and pepper look going. So I'll
yeah, actually, I know what it'll be, mate. I'll be one of the feral ones in the back of the boat, just putting the hooks in and putting my finger and going overboard.
Yeah, no, that's all right. No, we don't want that. Stay on board, Daz. Here we go.
The impact of all this is mental health, which is again we discussed.
Yep, and that's something that's close to our hearts, isn't it? Mental health. Is what we're all about.
Mental health is an absolute touchy, really to the core. We've got the computer up.
Yep.
I don't normally do research. I was trying to find some things I couldn't believe I couldn't get 2020 stats.
Yeah,
I'm getting 2018, and I'm getting generic information, but not specific. So for you, who do you follow in football?
You know I'm a Richmond man.
Yeah.
And a big Richmond man. I used to say long suffering. Look, I can't say that anymore.
You're on a good run. And you know what?
Great run.
He's done well, Harvey, down there, to be fair, where he's done with that culture and group.
Yeah, well, that's a great example, isn't it? When we talk about culture and whatnot.
Spot on.
They've embraced the culture of vulnerability.
Yeah.
And that's interesting, isn't it? In a sport that's considered very, us in the past, macho. These guys, they're athletes that go out there and they bang, they crash. It takes courage to back in the packs and whatnot and put your head over the ball. And, yeah, they embrace vulnerability and they have fun in their workplace, don't they?
Absolutely. And then
it's amazing.
It's changing. It's great.
Yep. Go Tigers.
So with Tigers, there's been some sad news within Tigerland?
No, very sad this week. So Shane Tuck.
38 years of age?
38 years of age. Leaves a young family behind. I'll even go Danny Frawley last year.
That touched me because I knew Danny personally.
You knew Danny. So both Richmond people, really. Absolutely devastating.
So,
yeah.
It's not against. I'm going to try and be generous. It's touchy for anyone.
Yeah.
If it's raw and cut to the bone, I'm strong to have an issue with when I read something and it's not about him. We'll talk about COVID, we'll talk about deaths, we'll talk about this, we'll talk about that, what caused this, what caused that. When it comes to, we're presuming, because it hasn't actually been said officially in a word, but everything below, it gives us the
inference. Is it the inference or?
Yeah, what's it when it's script? It's cryptid, like a cryptid written article. We know what they're trying to say. We're not what they're wanting to say, but they can't actually say it.
They can't say it. I'm assuming that's legal reasons or whatnot.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
And if I'm wrong, it's not about him now.
No.
It's about the generic concept. The word suicide. I'm struggling with it. I don't struggle with the word, sorry. I struggle that we don't acknowledge the word in a stronger view so we get to understand it better, that a certain person, unfortunately, has passed you to suicide.
Yep.
We go through such a way of going about it in a round way without actually saying it. I'm trying to get my head around what are we worried, what are we fearful of? We know that suicide rate has gone up. So here, just so we know, guys, 8 Australians die every day by suicide. That's more than double the road toll.
Yeah.
75% of those who take their own life are male, not we're worrying about male or female.
No. Yeah.
65,000 Australians make a suicide attempt each year, let alone we haven't discussed who has a thought of that. That's an attempt.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident a lot of people have thought it. 2018, 3,046 Australians took their own life. Now, 2018, I want 2020. This is on a certain very well-known site.
Yep.
Suicide is a leading cause of death for Australians between the ages of 15 and 44. The suicide rate in Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders people is twice that of their non-Indigenous counterparts. We go into rural, all these things, for each life suicide impacts felt by 135 people. Males 85, male experience, specific same gender. 1 in 4 Australians are lonely and have no one to speak to. Lifeline is here to listen. So I'm just trying to understand if we talk about
feeling disconnected.
Yeah, if we can talk about suicide and that's what happened, we can get more of an emotional attachment to it. We can try and get more of a learning and understanding of it.
Yeah.
And then we can help our people around us deal with it better. But it's like we can't deal because it's not. Well, we don't know if that was suicide. We don't know if that was this.
Yeah.
I'm not saying do a big public sign saying.
Yeah. No, that's
right?
not what it's about.
But in the article and say, unfortunately, due to, and then go with the story. Unless, what am I missing here? Is it a law? Is it illegal to announce that? Are we? We know that the amount of suicides. Why don't we read about them? If that's the stats, the newspaper or the TV, why are we not hearing these stats regularly, officially, when it happens?
It's not newsworthy, is it?
Okay.
It's not newsworthy.
So mental health is probably the biggest thing right now for us as a population.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be, I would say, exacerbated by what we're all going through right now across the community.
Yeah. So when we come out of COVID,
a lot of people in tough places right now.
So when we come out of COVID-19, there's going to be ramifications because of COVID-19, and that's how we deal with it.
Yeah, we spoke about this last week.
Spot on. Now I don't know what's right how to deal with it. I know that the government is busting up its seams to try and help in all people who need the support. Yeah. Have the lifelines. You have your Beyond Blue, but they can do so much.
Yeah.
Why is the word scary to use? I don't like the word. I don't like the fact someone's got to go through it. Actually, another thing that annoys me is when I read an article or when people say it's selfish for the person to do that. I can't fathom that. I'm sorry. They're in a dark space for a reason.
Yeah.
To do what they've done, I'm not saying it's courage.
No.
It's a feeling that you just think, well, what made them get to that point?
Yeah, we can't.
They're not.
No one's going to understand it.
And the last thing they worry about is the people. They're worried about just what they're dealing with and what they can't cope with.
Yeah.
And let alone everything else that they're worried about, the burdens, the best things that they feel. And I feel for anyone's in that situation, how can we have a better impact so people who have these thoughts, do we need to not promote it, do we need to talk about
raise
it more
awareness
and use that word so we get to truly understand what that word means?
Yes, we do.
So why don't we, do you think? And we're not suggesting.
No, one, it's probably not. It's just not something that's newsworthy until it's unfortunately someone who's revered in the community passes, and it sort of starts to get spoken about.
So have you?
But it's not.
Do you know anyone?
Have I ever
without knowing
anyone?
No, we're not going to talk about anyone. But have you been close?
I've never been close to it. No,
right.
Myself, not that I know of.
Okay. So we have.
So
we've actually been close to it.
Yeah.
In a few times.
Yeah.
And it's discussion that needs to be had when it happens, so we can start to understand. Not understand. Sorry, the word "understand" is not right.
So when you say discuss, in what way?
So
what way can
I wouldn't, for example, say person A is and unfortunately succumbed to suicide. I wouldn't sit down with the people around me who we talk to try and comfort and support each other.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hide from the word. I wouldn't try and use other words to try and go around the long way around. Just say that's what happened. No. Now we want to do how we make sure it doesn't happen to us. How we make sure that we can learn from this, because you have to learn from it. We have to learn to change along with it, because we have to change who we are, what we feel, but if we use that word, does it get us more involved into trying to find or to learn better from it? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think I'm being very careful what I say.
Yeah.
And I'm worried about what I say.
Yeah.
So I don't want it to be misunderstood.
No. Yeah.
And I'm struggling to say it properly. I really am.
I think we find it so hard to try and talk about it because it's such... The action itself is so raw. Is raw even the right word? I don't know. It's such a frightful, usually unexpected, raw, unexpected, just complete sadness.
We don't need to know the graphic detail either.
No.
Just the word.
Yeah.
I don't need to know that. Okay, did they do? It's just the word. So then we can deal with the word, not the sugarcoating. And that's why it's raw, because we don't know how to talk about it. Suicide's not raw. 10,000 people. I think I got on another stat. They didn't use suicide. 10,000 people had died from mental behavioural disorders.
Yeah.
So that I know what that meant in the stat I looked up.
Mm-hmm.
But so many people are doing it. It's not that raw in itself. It's just raw to talk about. Was that
raw to talk about? Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah. I think because of the impact of it. The impact for those people that are left here wondering the questions that are left.
Could have done, should have done, didn't do. Could have done more.
Yeah.
Mate, and that's. Did
I miss the signs?
Absolutely. And sometimes
there is no sign.
There's nothing more you can do.
Nothing you can do.
And that's unfortunate.
That's right. Yeah.
But I'd like to know why. I don't know. I'm not trying to publicise it. I just think I read the article, COVID-19, all these things are coming about. Mental health is going to become a strong thing. Suicide rate is increasing. How we could try and stop it. Talk about it.
Talk about it. Reach out. Open up. You and I, we've both encountered our mental health difficulties along the way, and we've had things happen to us which have rocked us to the core. And
spot on.
I do think the community in general is starting to turn the corner around. Or maybe they're not. I don't know. Maybe the numbers don't support that. But the feeling is that people are starting to open up and talk about their feelings and their darkest fears, their frustrations. I think, but there's only small pockets of it probably where that's acceptable. Yeah, maybe we've just got to open up that little bit more. The places of work. I think some workplaces now are starting to ensure that their employees are, offered outlets for talking about their mental health and whatnot. So I think that's starting to get better from what I've seen. But I mean, I work majoritarily in the corporate world, so I don't really work outside of that. But I think that's starting to become a better engaged sort of tool there around the ways in which you can speak with people. But it's such a hard thing to do. It is. Not everyone's wired that way. But
that's a good message that it's okay to speak up.
It's okay to speak up.
People are speaking up.
Yeah,
we can't talk about the topic that no one wants to talk about. So I don't mind dealing with stuff, but we've got to deal with it both ways, both sides of the line. That's why we have this. That's why it comes with this title.
Yeah,
we can't deal with it on one side only. We've got to again. It's not the word's not understand. It's a wrong word.
We've got
to get a bit of a way to see it from that side.
Yeah.
Well, if that did happen, we're going to what led to that? Maybe we can learn from whatever. But if we don't discuss it, we don't learn from it. So how do you pick up the signs?
No.
I don't feel well today. I'm not feeling okay. I get that, but I'm not allowed to talk about what happened last week with that certain person because we don't know what really happened. I don't mean in the graphic detail.
Yeah.
I mean just that word. Does that make sense or not?
Yeah. So I think I may have mentioned it, and maybe others have mentioned it. The fear of judgment.
Well, COVID-19's proven that when some people don't care about being judged.
Some people have no self-awareness, though.
And this is the thing. That's this whole thing. This is why I'm pretty messed up. I'm seeing so many conflicting, mixed up messages now. I'm finding it hard to read in the public from a public viewpoint. What I see on social media, what I see on the news, and how I used to see things, how I see things now. I'm very confused on what I'm seeing. And what people think are right, what's wrong, and it's all so messed up. I've actually lost my way on how I think.
Interesting word you use, confused. I know we're talking about suicide and stuff right now. Maybe, is it because there's so much coming out right now?
What do you mean?
So much news, information, examples of lawlessness.
Lawlessness.
I don't know. Is that a word?
So I got to check something here.
I don't know.
I think I don't know. I'm really lost as.
But are we lost and confused because there's so much information coming out, or are we lost and confused by what we see ourselves, or are we actually seeing it ourselves, or is it the picture being painted for us?
Perspective view?
Yeah.
So, okay, are we seeing so you say, are we maybe not seeing the landscape from our own personal view?
Yeah, and it's being painted for us.
It's being changed.
Maybe.
And does that make you start to question on what you actually feel and see now?
Mm.
I'm going to be in where we are right now. With everyone's going, I don't know what's left and right. I don't know what's right and wrong. I see rules getting broken every day. I see people trying to abide by the rules. I see people hemorrhaging because of trying to maintain the rules. I see people doing very, very well who don't need to break the rules, who are breaking the rules. I don't know if that made sense, but that was a ramble then, wasn't it?
Yeah, sorry. We'll probably move back to the suicide. Do we want
to? I'm not really sure where I was going with that. The suicide, my thoughts. I just want to raise it because I just think that if we can acknowledge it, we can then start to find a way to learn from it. But if we keep going tiptoe around it, it's pretty hard to deal with it. Well, it's not again. I'm going to use the word understanding, but I don't mean in that form.
Yeah.
But you can get a better understanding of what that actual story means of that person. Because that might give me a better picture to say, well, that person who I thought I knew somewhere else, they're going through something similar.
Yeah. And
it led to that. This wasn't an accidental potential death. It was a decision made by someone who said they've had enough. And if I don't get that point, it's heart-wrenching. There's one that really breaks my heart, which I won't discuss.
No. Yeah.
It brings me to tears. A 16-year-old girl breaks me, tears me up. And it gets me upset talking about it.
Yeah.
Because she was very close to us when it comes to part of the TS family.
Yeah.
But to just to go through that process, that thoughts, the feelings. We want teenagers to realise you've got the support, you've got the help, you can talk about it. But it's okay to talk about it, but not with restrictions, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Talk about it. Use the words that need to be used.
Yeah. Well,
to get a stronger understanding of what it means.
Do people know who they want to talk about this stuff with, though?
That's the problem.
Parents, maybe not parents. Close friends, probably not close friends. Friends, mentors.
Okay, so I think we're going in a good direction here, because that means people don't know who to go to.
I think that's it.
But that's the problem.
That's my feeling.
But that's the problem, isn't it?
That's a huge problem.
We don't know. So we say, you got these different places in place. The government's put things, your Burn Blue, all these different organisations. But then again, you've also got people around you that you should be able to go to. Your friends, like you said, your families. But then people are worried about, are they embarrassed to talk about it? Are they thinking that old same storm concept?
Yeah.
Well, you're struggling, so it's no point me putting my burdens on you. You're already carrying enough.
Look, I'll tell you 100% that with my own mental health battle, I did not want to burden the people close to me.
I get, and that's why you want more routine in your routine.
They wouldn't have known about it unless they called me out on my behaviour. Now, that's just my own.
Sure.
So I assume I wouldn't be the only one like that. But yeah, people don't know. Like, so I could imagine, wouldn't it be tough to ring a Beyond Blue number, speak with someone that you don't know? Like, that could probably be tough, or that could be liberating for someone. Speaking to someone they don't know, with knowing that that person's not there to judge them or whatnot, and talk to them about what they're going through.
I'll give you an example. I'm going to be open. 5 weeks ago, maybe, I was somewhere in a car. I was just having thoughts that I was just a bit concerned where I was at. I actually rang Beyond Blue. I was very comfortable where I was at, what I was doing, but I just thought I need to have a bit of a conversation with someone that was a non-bias.
Yeah.
I wasn't worried about judgment. That was not my issue.
No, okay.
Non-biased
view.
You
bring up a good thing, non-bias. Yeah.
Yeah, a non-biased view. Because what happens is, I feel personally, that sometimes you can go to someone that they make you feel better, but they probably make you feel worse because they're disagreeing with you, thinking, oh, well, that's fueling my fire, my desire to feel the way I feel.
Yep.
I had a non-biased view, a bit more of a mediator to get me a bit more grounded.
Mm-hmm.
The good thing about this lady was I was open to her and transparent with her straight from the start.
Yep.
I didn't take half an hour to let out 1 or 2 words.
Yep.
If I ring Beyond Blue, I'm ready to open up.
Mm-hmm.
If I go to you and ring you, I'm ready to open up.
Yep.
But the problem is we go to reach out, but we hold back.
Why?
I don't know why people do. They sort of it's like the cold water in the pool.
Putting your toe in the cold water.
Take half an hour to put your toe in that water. It's cold. Then you dive in. If you had dived in half an hour early, you would have had half an hour more swimming time.
Yeah. So that brings me back to the why.
So why are we worried about opening up?
Judgment.
Okay, and the judgment, have we actually, is it fact or fiction, or is it an illusion that we're going to be judged, or is it just a sense of feeling?
It's a problem you're creating in your own head, isn't it?
Right.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe not. But yes, that would be probably the argument in your own head?
So my theory is only one way to find out. Open up. And if you feel you've been judged,
the only way
you've gone to the wrong source.
You've gone to the wrong person. Yeah.
If you feel as if you're getting the wrong advice, the problem is, what do you classify as wrong advice?
Well, how do you know what it is for you?
Well, some people want to hear what they want to hear.
Well, that's it too.
So they'll classify it as wrong advice.
Yeah.
But you might have got the right advice for the situation you're in, but you just chose not to take that advice.
Mm-hmm.
So different ways you can look at it.
Yes.
I can go to a psychologist now and tell them what I want them to hear. And they can engage on what they tell them. Unless they're very, very good to understand if I'm trying to manipulate the conversation, if I'm trying to make it all about me conversation, or where I'm prepared to be open and true.
Yeah.
A good psychologist will define, you're playing me here.
Yeah.
Let's get down to the point.
Let's get real.
My accident, I went through 4 psychologists. The first 3 were just wasting my time. Nothing. I'm like, no personal. The 4th one, she was great. Yeah. She worked me out. She had a bit more of a level head for me, and she actually took control of me.
Yeah.
And she didn't let me manipulate it.
Yeah.
And there's times I probably told what I wanted to tell her, but she also was able to pick apart on how I was telling the story, and then she was actually she was able to put the things together where I was at and how I was feeling at the time.
Yeah.
Why I gave X amount of information.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So if you went back, not that you want to go back there, but just say you went back a step, and you said to me that you didn't open up because of the burden.
Yep.
Would you change your ways if it happened to you now? Would you open up now, or would you still carry the burden and not to put the burden on someone else?
Depends which way you're wired.
You personally.
Me personally, look.
So this is your situation.
Yep.
If unfortunately we don't want, but say you're back there, you're able to change that situation, how you dealt with it. Would you still hold it in, or would you feel better if you had it opened up?
Would I feel better?
Yeah.
Well, yes, you'd feel better if you open up.
So if you went through it,
wouldn't.
Well, if you went through a crisis now, or you went through a tough time again with something, would you hold in, or would you open up?
I would open up because I've been through having that period and then that conversation and having someone call me out on my own behaviour. I would open up.
So I don't think I've fully opened up completely in times. I think I've dealt with what I've had to deal with in part.
Yeah.
I've done
the person who called me out is very
close. Yep.
As close can be. But it's not going to be the same for
It's different.
The next person who may pick something up. So if it was someone who probably wasn't as close to me who picked something up, would I open up? Depends if I trust them or not.
So would I say because you were challenged,
if I thought they were going to have a good view on me or not, or a view of my situation?
All right, you're
a lot of things come into play, Dazza.
All right,
a lot of things.
You're giving advice to someone now. What would your advice be?
Well, open up and talk to
really?
somebody. Yeah, it is. Isn't it contradictory a little bit?
We all do.
Absolutely. We all say, just...
I contradict myself all the time.
It's hard.
I've helped that many people,
things to do.
But I struggle to help myself at times. I get that. But like I said to someone today, it was a good chat. He's pretty wide up like me.
Yeah.
But as we're helping others, we're helping ourselves.
Yeah.
Because while we're navigating them through their storm, we actually find the path for our own storm. Because we're utilising what we're going through to help them, and then we pick, well, you know what? I just learned something for myself.
Yeah.
That's how I think I do it, which is wrong at times, because I need to look after me first and then look after others, but I love helping people.
Yeah.
And that's probably my desire to get me through each day. Because I deal with things to get through. So if I know I can deal with this, I'll deal with that. I'm in survival mode every day. That's how I feel. I'm not lost in the world and whatever, but just I'm going to write a book. And I think I've told it early in the year. So I'm going to surviving being a survivor. Yeah. I feel as if I'm in survival mode, so I do what needs to be done to get through the day.
Yeah.
Maybe one day I need to just say, you know what, I'm going to put all my cards on going to be on the table, and maybe I need to deal with it in a big way and not in the small ways I deal with them as I chip away. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
But if I gave some advice now, I'd say put all your cards on the table.
Yeah.
Fine.
That's what we all say, isn't it? Yeah, it's easier said than done.
So we're aware of it.
Yeah.
So we are contradicting, but there's a reason why we're doing this. We're not saying it's a perfect world, But we need people to realise we want to open up. We don't want you in that mode to be potentially suicidal. We don't want you to be in the mental health situation where you're being impacted by your mental health, which impacts your physical, which impacts your social. It all the layers in play.
Yeah, so many layers.
And then life becomes a very tough journey.
Yeah. It's
tough as it is without you having battles within the journey that you've got within life. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many challenges everyone works through at any given time. That's for sure.
So how would you take this conversation now? In what direction? Because it's raw and real.
Yep.
Where do you want to take this conversation? Do you think? How do you feel about everything
going forward?
Just what we're discussing. How you feel? What will be your summary on what we're discussing? Why we've gone into this detail? You know, we're not trying to be psychologists and doctors. And
no,
we're just talking about two people experiencing life.
Well, we know it's funny. Well, I mean, I could see we're 45 minutes in right now, and we're speaking about COVID and this. This has been our main topics tonight. How multi-layered has it been to try and just wade through this conversation and the different perspectives and views we've had? And maybe that's something we need to highlight is that a lot of it's not straightforward.
No.
But that's okay. That's okay. There's going to be bits to break off and chew and then to analyse and feel better about and then tackle the next thing. There's so many layers to, your mental health, the battles you face, the challenges you're facing, the way you want to improve yourself or even go off in that direction and develop yourself and whatnot. You don't have to fix everything all at once.
One thing I say to kids, so I'm checking my phone for a reason, guys. It's just something personal happening at the moment that I'm just monitoring. When you said layers, right?
Yeah.
This is going to be similar to what we said about goal setting or when we're looking at, the blame game.
Yeah.
So they're all three parts will be similar, we're about to say. Because we did last week, we talked about so many different things and different variables, different scenarios that we haven't thought of in sport and all these things.
Yeah.
So it is a big task to deal with what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Do we chip away first? Do we hit the biggest problem of all? Then we tackle the small ones.
Well, who's to say what the big problem is?
Correct. So, pardon me. So my analogy, what I do, I'm right.
Yeah.
I say, well, if I have 4 things that are starting to really bother me right now, 1, 2, 3, 4. Normally you say, tick box 1, box 2, box 3, box 4. What I look at is, what if I did box 4 first? It may help with box 3, 2, and 1.
Yeah.
So I try and find the layer that's linked to most and touch that layer first.
Yeah.
And that might erase some other layers, which then I can deal with the other stuff better.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So what you've done there is great, but people don't even get to that point of writing it down.
Correct.
I can tell you I didn't.
So
I didn't even sit down and write down. I'm probably the most, me, I like to be well planned and measured and whatnot generally. I didn't do that.
And how's this? I'm not a planner. You are. And yet in this side of things, I put those processes, looking at those things, and it amazing how just straight away our roles flipped.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's no right and wrong here.
No, there's not. But that's from my perspective and from yours. I didn't sit down and go, I'm going to write down 3 or 4 things that are playing on my mind and then find the common theme amongst it all.
So maybe this is just something to talk about.
Yeah.
Before I ring someone to put the whole whatever I'm in and just go bang.
Blurt it out. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I write it down first? If you put pen to paper, this is where we've changed. Was everything's a touch push. It's self-correcting, and the thing about pen to paper, I feel I don't do any research. You know that.
Yeah.
I'm just a
straight shooter. Fly. Yep. Straight shooter.
Once I get a pen, and we do have our workshops here.
Yeah.
We get them to put pen to paper.
Yes.
That means as they're actually writing, they're actually thinking about what they're writing. They're not just going through your generic robotic concept.
Yeah.
So when you write points down, then you start to think about, well, hang on, I've got a bit of a common theme here. I could actually talk about the theme and not all. Or I could give them a couple of points when they ask me, well, these are 4 things I struggle with, 5 things I'm struggling with, 2 things I'm struggling with.
Yeah.
We expect someone to say, without any planning or any concept, ring someone or talk to someone. But what do I talk to them about when I've got a million things going in my head?
Yeah.
Does that make sense or not?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is why we're probably in the problem we're in. right now?
We don't. I'd like to be taught at school on how to, and I've never been taught it. And I've just done it because of what I've been through, and I have to start to logically try and think that suits me. Is we don't mind map enough. We don't brainstorm enough for ourselves.
Well, everything's on your phone and it's auto-corrected and filtered through, and social media and comparisons and judgment. And
so when do you ever work? It's a common thing.
The individuality's taking away a little bit, isn't it? Because we're
your own self-thought
ourselves to someone else.
You don't have to think anymore. So when someone asks you to open up, you don't know how to think.
I don't know if you don't know how to think. You just what's the word I'm looking for?
We don't know how to utilize the information that you're trying to. I don't know what the words are. I'm not scientific.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think about what I'm trying to get at here. You're not.
You know what we should do? Hire someone who's got all these words, and I'll just throw that's a word, and we'll say, thank you for that.
It. Yeah, thank you for that. That's it. They can sit right there.
So we just get a new word in our new vocabulary for our dictionary.
Maybe we're desensitized.
In our thought process.
Mm-hmm.
So
everything's desensitized.
Which means we're shutting our minds down.
Yeah.
We don't know how to engage it and create. So I always use the blank canvas concept.
Yeah.
I love a big blank piece of paper.
Yeah.
And I start to mind map concepts.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have too many pieces of paper. Sometimes I don't sleep.
Yeah.
Like if you can imagine me in the middle of the night, I have an A4 piece of paper next to my bed and it's just a mess, a scribble. Yep. And then I email myself, then I text myself, then I'm just, and then I try and put it all into one piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you know what I do? I feel like I've just then taken a lot of weight off my shoulders.
Yeah.
At least I put something here. So I've taken it out, I put it there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm starting to do something with it.
Yeah.
But what stays here and feels here, I feel heavy.
Yeah.
Which I'm heavy anyway. I'm not an athlete, but I feel heavier than my heavy look, right? I feel heavy, I feel drained, which means I feel, I can't think. But if I start to, at least I feel like I'm releasing something, and then I can pass that information on to the person I want to speak to.
And you're going to pass on the experience you had.
Correct.
Going through that situation.
And
we don't share experiences enough.
Correct. And your experience, my experience, and that person's experience, it doesn't have to be the same.
No.
It doesn't have to have the same emotional connection to feel.
No.
And it doesn't matter how you deal with what's right or wrong and vice versa.
Yeah.
But I'd like to know how you felt.
Yeah.
I would like to know how you went through it. Yeah. I would like to know what your thought processes were going through option A instead of option B.
Yeah.
I'm not judging you.
No.
But I'm fascinated by you. That's how...
So we go back to the judgment thing again. But we're always comparing ourselves. We're always judging ourselves against others. And we feel like we're judged. That's the world we live in now. Social media, the news, whatever it is. Right. We are judging ourselves.
I did a workshop with kids the other
week. Always.
I did a workshop with kids the other week.
That's why we're desensitized.
But do you think this judgment, right, and just the field, right, is that more perspective view? Is it an illusion or is it fact?
It's got to be illusion, surely.
I think we get caught up in that we're judging ourselves, which makes us judge others to think that about us because that's what we think about ourselves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we say, well, we must. So I walk down the street going, Aaron, you're already thinking that way about me. Well, I haven't even asked you the question, but I already presume you're thinking I'm a prick.
Yeah.
Is that swear jar?
That's swear jar. Is crap swear jar? I think I said crap.
I've got a credit card. I'll just tap and go.
Where is the swear jar? I don't know. We've got to get this
Actually,
thing in.
Kim Bob got one off. And I think she knew there was going to be big ones tonight. She goes, Dad's a swear jar. And I forgot to bring it out.
Then.
I was a bit erratic with our new venture outside. But I've been caught up in the emotion.
Yeah.
So that's, I don't know. I don't want to try and say, I think we're touching on things I want to touch on, but I just don't know where I want to take the conversation.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be negative.
But
it's a negative conversation.
It is, yeah. And we don't always want to be negative. We want to talk about the good stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing right now. We are not talking about some of the great things that are happening, are we?
No, and this is the thing.
Across the community. There's some great things happening, but it's all overshadowed by what's so negative and not so great things that are happening.
But you know when you say the great things within your community, right? I also say it's great things within the family. You spend more time together.
Oh, hasn't that been great? I can tell you I've loved it.
You know, and I know it's getting boring and thing, but I'm still spending time because we live in such a rat race 24/7 that we actually get to go home, do our thing. For the ones who are working, which unfortunately the ones who aren't.
Yeah.
I have a lot of negatives going around me, but I'll tell you what, things I'm doing here is giving me inspiration to breathe, let alone going home to my family after inspiration.
Yeah.
I'm hemorrhaging. I'm hurting. The business will survive.
Yeah.
I like to think it will, but we could be shut down again longer. Will we survive that? I don't know. But like you said, I've got a lot of other things going well.
Yeah.
Compared to that.
Yeah. And we need to talk about those.
So what's our topic then? Let's just change it. Flip. Bang.
Flip.
We're back on the other side of the line. So both sides of the line.
Yeah.
We're on this side now. The good side.
The good side.
Before we sign off, because not that we'll sign off now, but we'll sign off soon.
Yeah.
So we just keep adding to our conversation.
Yep.
What is a conversation that you'd like to discuss to end up on a nice, strong feel?
Nice, strong feel.
Nice, happy, good feel. That's half the problem. We know they're there, but they just don't jump out.
They don't jump out, no.
So I want it to jump out.
You want it to jump out.
If it doesn't jump out, we'll talk. We'll just have fun and talk about things.
How about you go first?
Mate,
well, I mean, we're all sitting around. Well, we're not sitting around, but we've got the chance to sort of spend some downtime.
The body's resting.
Yeah, the body's resting. Hopefully some of us, the mind's resting too. Should we be excited about what we're trying to plan for next?
Well, to be fair, I reckon the excitement is once we come out of COVID-2, if we ever come out of it properly.
It's hard to see it at the moment, but so that's the excitement, isn't it?
We're going to change
what are we going to do when this is finished?
Make the most
of what?
Of what we missed out on.
What we missed out on, what you want to do, what you want to achieve, change about how you've lived your life, or
how you're living it.
Those exciting things.
What decisions you've been wanting to make but you haven't made.
Yeah,
they're scared of putting that toe in the water. Jumping in that biggest and just take that big leap of hope that you want to achieve something great.
Absolutely.
Are you inspired to say, you know what, if I can get through COVID-19, I can get through anything.
Yeah.
So can my family.
Well, that's it too. That's the way to look at it at the end of this. We got through it, survived it. Now we're on to bigger and better things.
So in this negative world that we live in, we can sit at home, collect our thoughts on a blank canvas and create the positive mindset of what we want to achieve, how we're going to achieve it, and we're going to start doing it now.
Yeah.
The fact that you put pen and paper is step one.
Yeah. And some of the great things over history have come out of the most difficult times.
Spot on. We don't want, man, I'll give you an example. It's not about me, but transitional sports came from tragedy.
Yeah.
So I will still be a tradesman. I love being a tradesman. I love what I do, and I still do stuff, but my body just doesn't handle it because I'm too all in.
Yeah.
I'm not a light heart. I'll do a loop. I'm all in.
Yeah.
Transition sports wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for something I went through traumatically. So I wouldn't have transition sports. So I was able to turn something around, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I lost everything to do that, but that's okay. I went through it. Look what I've learned from it.
Yeah.
Look at the impact we have on people.
That's it.
Look at the impact in the concept. So you know what?
Yeah.
There's a massive turning point from that.
Yeah.
You look at you and Beck and Paddy.
Yeah.
You went through something.
Yeah.
That you think, well, you know what? We've been through it. We've survived it. So if we've ever thought about doing something, you're probably going to say, we're going to start doing it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Because we don't know now.
Yeah.
What could have been.
Yeah. That's right.
COVID-19 says we've been stopped, halted. There's a mountain put in front of us. So they put a big mountain or a big roadblock in front of us. You know what my suggestion is? Climate.
I was about to say something else then.
Or what do you mean?
The swear jar was going to get it working over there, and I was ding, ding, ding.
But you know what I mean? Like we could, I don't know.
No.
One minute I'm saying I'm negative, next minute I'm positive. I'm saying let's be inspirational.
We want to be inspirational. We want to not be down all the time. But great things come out of the most tough and dark times.
Oh, absolutely. So
wars, the Great Depression, all those things you go back through history, inventions, some amazing things come out of it. So let's be hopeful of that stuff. And let's start planning that stuff.
Well, for you and me personally, if it wasn't, would we be doing podcasts?
No, we wouldn't even have. I mean,
we
always say over the years, we say we wish we recorded that conversation. Well, now we are. So, I mean, this has pushed us to this point, hasn't it?
But why are we? Because of COVID-19. So thank you, COVID-19. Not that I like you, not that I will be your friend, but I will thank you in a way that you made me change and say, well, let's just do it.
Yep.
You know, I want to make this place a bit more, well, I just did it.
Yep.
Because, you know what, I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I'm still doing wrong decisions. I'm still going to be, I'll still make mistakes, and I'll still probably upset my wife as I do, and my kids, and vice versa. But I still love. We still are going to be our normal everyday selves.
Yeah.
But I'm going to appreciate it more, bring more value to it, and start saying, I need more time with them and doing things with them and bringing more value with them.
100%.
Not that I neglect them, but just
No.
the way of life.
Yep.
Our commitments.
Yep.
Our
Can't get time back, mate.
So maybe we will lead from this one into next one.
Yep.
We'll go back. So we did say we'll talk about analogies next week because I think we'll go into detail. Is we can lead to how we can think differently.
Yeah.
How we can see and create a better future for us, more value, and then we talk about analogies and have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Because I think this has been tiring.
Yeah. I'm
not gonna lie.
It's been a big conversation.
Yeah,
tonight,
I feel
hasn't it?
drained.
Yeah.
And I think I'm struggling emotionally.
Mm.
But I'm upbeat. I'm in a nice way, but I'm going to be tired.
We are.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Let's do it next week.
So we started to look at, okay, how do we utilise this as a positive?
Yeah.
How we use our time wisely?
Yeah.
We have all this time at home, so why are we not thinking for the greater tomorrow? How are we not utilising our time more wisely when we have all this downtime that we don't want to have again?
100%.
In the right way.
Yeah.
Not a wasted way.
That's where we're going.
Happy with that?
I'm happy with that.
Anything you want to say if we sign off next? I think we're at 50 minutes. We're an hour. There you go. So
hopefully people haven't fallen asleep on us.
Yeah, be happy?
Yeah, I'm happy. There's been a lot of in-depth, a lot of deep stuff we've spoken about tonight. So, I mean, we can't stress enough. We say it, please reach out.
Spot on.
Please reach out. It doesn't have to be, if it's not mum and dad or whoever you're not comfortable with, pen to paper, something, just try and do something to help yourself in some way.
And to clarify, we weren't trying to promote using a word in a high big banner, the word suicide. We weren't blaming the government. We're just saying that as a population, we need to be more accountable for each other as leaders and being a part of those leaders and leadership group and as a community. Yeah. So we're just trying to have a discussion on how we feel and why it impacts us the way it does. Yep. But it hurts me to know that anyone who's at a situation to actually have to make certain those decisions, whether it be in COVID or mental health. Mm-hmm. Now we're all making decisions that's not the norm. It's hard, not easy. We get that. Yeah. We just hope we've just tried to discuss that in that way. Yep. Without, and at times it was hard to discuss those conversations, not knowing is this right or wrong to talk about it. Yeah. But I want to talk about it. You feel the same?
I feel the same. Yeah.
All right. Well, viewers, again, if you like and subscribe on this for our YouTube and we want to get some traction, if you feel our message if we're going down the right direction with our messages, and our content, and our openness, and our straight down from the heart conversations, please help us, support it, share it. We just want to engage with more people and have more of an impact. That's what we stand for. That's what we're about.
And if you think we're missing the mark,
let us know.
Let us know.
Personally, you don't have to attack us on social media. I don't want to be attacked, but I'm happy to be, hey guys.
Any feedback is
good feedback.
Yep.
We'll take it on board.
Absolutely.
Okay, so guys, help us out, not in a way of popularity, help us with the message.
Yep.
If you think it'd be better, stronger, or a bit more wise in what we say,
100%.
Feedback's great.
No worries. Take care of each other.
Much love to everyone. Goodbye.
See you guys.